So we are beginning our move into shoulders. This is the first one of this progression. So we're looking at sort of some tools to loosen the shoulders, to address that tightness in the shoulders and the neck. So I'm going to begin with our lovely blanket roll. We've done this lots of times before. Remember, you're laying over the blanket. So the blanket, when you lay down, is going to be at the back of your shoulder blades. So for us girls, it's across the bra strap. Yeah, if you don't wear a bra, then it's the back of the shoulder blades. So what I'll get you to do is just set yourself up with that. Now you can do lots of different things with the legs in this position. So let me introduce you to a few of them. We're going to be staying in this position for about 2 to 3 minutes. So once you've eased yourself onto that blanket, I tend to start out with semi-supine, just because I can ground through my feet for that initial sensation. Then I want something to do with my arms. So I can either have my arms in line in the T position, or if it's comfortable for me, I can take them into a V shape, or I can even bend the elbows and take them into a W shape. Whichever one of those I do, I want to make sure the whole of the back of my hand, the back of the wrist, and the back of the arm are all on the floor. So there's no gaps underneath. And then I can change the legs if I wish. So I can either keep them in this semi-supine position, or I can draw the feet towards each other. So I'm pressing the balls and the heels of the feet together and the legs are moving out to the side in Baddha Konasana. Or I can extend the legs into a Shavasana type position. So all these are optional. I'm going to do a bit of Baddha Konasana tonight, I think. That activity through my feet, releasing my shoulder blades. And I'm in this position where I'm feeling that I'm starting to feel heaviness in my upper body. So you might find that your head feels quite heavy on the floor, that your shoulders and your arms are feeling quite heavy. And it's quite a nice position if you are comfortable. Now remember, sometimes you might need to pop something underneath your head as well. So if you find that your chin is pointing up to the ceiling, then that would tell you to put a block or a cushion behind your head so that your head can be heavy, your chin can be lengthening to the back of the throat. And then you can slowly just roll the head from side to side. So you've got that lovely weight in the head, which means you can just ease through the back of the neck. Because we're keeping this release into the thoracic spine. So as you bring your head back to center, last week when we were looking at the hips, what we found was that our breath was more contained in the belly area, the lower part of the breathing muscles, if you like. Maybe from here you're feeling that the breath is very much focused into the upper ribs, maybe even into the chest. So what I'd like you to do, just to make this a little bit more active for the final minute or so, is just take your attention to your breath. The breath in will be very, you can move the breath in very easily. As you breathe out, I would like you to activate the breathing muscles and start to gently draw the sides of the rib cage to the midline. Then expressing the breath out. So you're going ribs, lower pubis, potentially pelvic floor last. Then you're breathing in again. And then gently squeezing the breath out. Ribs first. So it almost feels as though you're giving the breathing muscles a bit of a workout. So whereas, think about, we tend to only work the muscles we can see. This is us connecting to the muscles that perhaps we can't see. And by this point, you might be feeling the sensation you were getting at the back of the shoulder blades is perhaps reduced slightly. So we're going to stay in here for about another 6 breaths. It's one of those positions where the longer you stay in it, the more release you feel. And that's what we're trying to look at, undoing some of the tension that we bring into our bodies with our 21st century living. So after the next exhale, whatever that is, if you haven't already got your feet into semi-supine, that's what I'm going to get you to do. So ease your feet into semi-supine. Now from here, it's just out of ease that I roll onto my left side so that I can see you. If you feel you need to do a different side so you can see me, please feel free to do that. So basically, I'm going to roll over onto my left side. Now, as I start to roll over, I'm going to bring my knees together to 90 degrees. We did this last week, but we're going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to take my blanket, and this time I'm going to slide it under my side waist. So the side of the waist that's closest to the floor. Then I'm going to extend my arm out. Now I've got 2 options here. I'm just going for this one just for a change. I've lengthened my arm and I'm laid onto my lower arm. And I've got this blanket stacked underneath my waist. Now you could bend your elbow if that's more comfortable, lie in the crook of the elbow. But basically what you're doing is you're going to breathe in, you're going to lift the top arm and the feet and the lower legs. And as you exhale, you're going to slide that top arm, turning your arm in the shoulder joint and bring it down potentially to touch the arm that's extended at the same time as lowering the feet. You're going to breathe it in, you're going to lift the feet, lift the arm. Now I want you to try, as you bring the arm overhead, to slide the shoulder blade towards the spine. To slide the shoulder blade down the back. So as the arm comes alongside of the ear, the shoulder blade is sliding down the back. It might be doing that automatically. If it is, that's good. Okay, make this one the last one. Keep the feet on the floor, slide your top arm in front of your body, and then press to lift yourself up into mermaid. Now, I'm not mirroring you, so just be aware. So the leg, my left leg is my bottom leg. My right leg, I've brought to stretch out my front of my shin and my ankle and foot. If that's not possible for you, you can take what was your top leg and reach it forward. So that's an option if you don't want to do this mermaid position. So once you've done that, you're going to take from this lifted position, this lifted mermaid position, you're going to lift up the arm of the leg that's sliding back, and you're going to turn and twist towards the bent leg, the one that's in front, bringing that hand, this is my right hand, outside of the left leg and twisting to the left. Now, as you do this position, we use it a lot, sliding the shoulder blades down the back. My left hand is behind, and then I'm going to turn my head and gaze over my right shoulder, snootily looking down towards my right knee. And again, I'm just thinking about activating the back of my shoulder blades and dropping these top shoulders, housing the rotator cuff. I'm going to take a few more breaths there. And then from here, I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to release the turn of my head, that's stretching out the scalings, to look over the left shoulder. And then I'm going to turn back to face you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Sukhasana here. So I'm going to cross my right leg in front of my left. So I'm sitting in Sukhasana. Sitting up nice and tall. And I want you to just start by doing some shoulder rolls. So literally, I'm going to inhale, lift my shoulders up to the ears. This is good. And then squeeze the shoulder blades. Now it's called retraction. As you squeeze the shoulder blades together and slide them down the back, you're retracting the shoulder blades, which will lower your shoulders. Yeah, and then you're lifting, protracting, moving the shoulder blades away from the spine to lift the top of the shoulders up to the ears. And then you're rolling them back and squeezing the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, let's do one more. Lift up, roll back, squeeze the shoulders down the back. Now you could go the other way. So you could go from a squeezing shoulder blade up and then forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, then shoulders up to the ears, and then roll forward. And you'll know these really well. You probably do these naturally. Okay. So one you probably won't do naturally is our next movement. And I'm going to extend my arms out in front. Now, again, I'm just going to turn off to the side because the desire is to go like this. But I want you to imagine you're doing beach ball arms. So you're going to take your arms, shoulder blades down the back, and extend them as if you're about to hug somebody, as opposed to reaching for something. So I've got my lovely arms in line with my rib cage. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to move this left shoulder blade away from the spine to propel my left fingertips forward. Again, protraction. Then I'm going to slide the shoulder blade back to the spine, retraction. So I'm trying to move my arm from the shoulder blade, as opposed to gripping, grasping. So I'm just moving that arm, connecting it to the shoulder blade. Do a couple more times. That's it, good. And then change arms. See which of your shoulder blades you can move most effectively. If one is tighter than the other. Or maybe not, maybe they're both the same. Show from this side. So it's a completely different move to our everyday reaching for something. It's a more focused, more fluid movement. Okay, make the next one your last one. And then from there, by now the arms will start to ache a bit, so just release them down to the side. And maybe just give the wrists a little circle. So we're going to be using them in a minute. Now we are going to be coming back to this seated position. So just make sure which leg you've got in front. I've got my right leg in front. Before we do the other side, we're going to release onto our right side on our blankets, or the other side. So you're going to pop the blanket underneath your right side waist. If you've already done the right side, please feel free to do the left. I'm going to take the arm forward if that's comfortable. I've got my palm facing down. I'm resting my head on my arm. And then just for a couple of movements, I'm going to pick up the top arm and the feet and lower legs. And then I'm going to try and turn my arm in the shoulder joint, but slide my left shoulder blade away down the back to propel my arm alongside of the ear. Lower the feet. Yeah, lift the arm up, lift the feet and the lower legs. Try and move from the back of the shoulder blade to propel the arm forward. Okay, keep going. Do a couple more. Have a little look at how that's going. Lovely. So again, just this real connection with the back of the body. Okay, make the next one your last one. Slide the top arm, that's the left hand for me in front, and press up into mermaid position. Remembering that if you feel that it's awkward for you to have this stretch on the front of the left shin or ankle, that you can straighten the left leg out in front like this, so you're still able to do this twist. So from here, I'm going to take my left arm, I'm going to lift it up to the sky, try and connect to the back of the shoulder blade, and I'm going to turn and twist to the right, bringing the left arm outside of the right leg, spinning the ribs around to the right, shoulder blade sliding down the back, and then turning the head so I'm snootily gazing towards my left knee. That's the knee with the foot sliding back, and just stretching into these scalings here at the right side of the neck. I'm kind of lifting out of this position. It's a twist, but it's also a lovely connected lift. Deep breaths. And then from there, I'm going to turn my head first so that it's back in line with my spine, facing the right. And then I'm going to spin my whole body back to the center. And this time, I'm going to cross my left leg in front of my right leg. Now, remembering what we've just done, I'm going to add in another little exercise. So you're going to begin dropping the shoulder blades down the back, floating the arms out in front. Feel very soft in the shoulders. Then you're going to cross your left wrist over your right wrist. You're going to turn the wrists so the palms are facing each other and clasp them. So you start with the crossed wrist. Left wrist crossed over right, like that. Then you turn the hands to face each other. Then you're going to bring the fists in towards the chest. That's it. And then you're going to see if you can get the fists forward. Yes, again, don't worry if they don't go. It's just this kind of wrist, arm, shoulder stretch. We don't do very often. Doing it more. Okay, to come out of it, you're going to bring the fists back to the chest, but then you're going to bring the arms up alongside of the ears, still with the shoulder blades sliding down the back and lengthening through the armpits. Brilliant. And then from there, I used to call this the tails of the unexpected stretch, you know, because do you remember that? Tails of the unexpected, where they used to have that dancer on at the start, doing a bit of a shimmy. And then from there, as you undo the hands, I want you to circle the wrists all the way back down to the floor, either side of your legs. Okay, then you're going to do the other side. So you're going to bring the arms out in front. But as you bring the arms out in front, you've got that beach ball sensation. Yeah, you're not doing this. You're softening, feeling relaxed. And then you're going to cross right wrist over left wrist. Turn the hands in to face each other and clasp them. Bring them to the chest. And then stretch the arms forward. Okay, again. And one side will always feel different to the other. Yeah, this side is particularly bad for me, actually. I've got a real in this moment. And then I'm going to slide my wrist back to my fists back to my chest, and then reach them up alongside of the ears, but drop the shoulders down. Hold there for a couple of moments. And then from there, release the hands and slowly circle those wrists. A bit like castanets, out to the side, and then down either side of the body. So I'm just on my fingertips. Good. Now from here, I'm just going to give my legs a bit of a breather and just let them stretch out. But I'm still thinking of this sense of drawing the shoulder blades down the back, so that I'm really connecting into my back body. From this position, we're going to come into cat. So I'm just going to move my bits and pieces out of the way. I'm actually going to take a layer off, and I'm going to get you to come onto all fours. Now we're going to do a bit of a different cat today. So because we've been working on the hips up until this week, we're going to, I think I can put a little bit of a hip opener in here as well. So what I'm going to get you to do is just slide your left knee closer to the midline. And then as you take your left lower leg out to the side, you're going to bring the right knee in behind the left knee. So you're in your cat position. So it's kind of cat needs to go to the toilet. Cat with the legs crossed. Then from there, you gently and maybe feeling that you're spreading into the hands, you could slide your chest forward as if you were doing the up-facing cat. And as you exhale, take the angry cat. So not only are you doing your cat-cow movements, but you're helping a bit of hip release as well. So it's a kind of multifaceted move. That's it. Let's do one more on this side. So remember, you've got your right knee behind your left knee. So as you come out, as you remove the legs, you are going to feel that you've worked into the wrists a little bit. So we're going to turn the hands out to the sides. So my fingertips facing away. And then from there, I can either stay with that movement, or I can bring my fingertips to face the knees. So again, work within your ability. Please use the different options. Please make sure that you are lengthening through all your fingers, including your thumb, and that you're not dropping the waist. Okay, you're going to slowly turn the hands back to the side. And as you bring the hands back to center, I'm going to give you another thing just to release the wrist. I'm going to get you to come onto the elbows. But I'm just going to show you, you're going to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, but I'm just going to show you that you're not going to allow the elbows to be like this, as if you're doing a prayer pose. You're rolling the shoulder blades down the back and sliding the elbows so that they're no wider than shoulder distance apart. So as you bring those elbows underneath your shoulders, tops of your shoulders, you're going to roughly clasp the hands and notice that just have a little, if you roll the elbows out, can you feel the shoulders collapse? There's a collapse in the back of the body. If you roll those inner lower arms in, rolling the elbows towards each other, there's a buoyancy in the upper back. So with that in mind, you're going to inhale and send your upper body forward into dolphin. And then exhale back to your elbow cap. So take that a few times. Try and keep the tops of the feet pressed to the floor. And almost imagine that you've got your elbows tied in your yoga strap and they're actually unable to roll out to the sides, because you want to keep this support in the back of your body. Good. Okay, I think you're ready to release, to come back onto your hands and knees. And then from here, to bring your right knee to the midline, cross your left knee behind your right knee so the feet are moving wide. And then take a few more of your up-facing cats to angry cats. Now again, if this feels unbearable on your knees, by all means, please keep your legs in your usual cat position, knees underneath the hips. Okay, just take one more set. And then as you ease out, neutral spine, undo the legs. Okay, I'm going to give you another different wrist stretch. I don't know if it's worse or better. This one, you literally pick up one hand and come onto the top of the hand. Can you see I've got the top of my hand and the top of the wrist on the floor with the palm facing upwards and the fingers pointing towards my knee. I don't know if that's worse or better than the previous one. I'm going to hold that for a few breaths and then release it. I think it's just different actually. And then I'm going to change sides. Now notice what's happening to your shoulders when you're doing this. So even though you don't know it, and you're stretching out your wrists, your shoulders will be joining the party, helping the movement of your wrists. Yay. Okay, well done. This time, woo, let's take an up puppy or a mountain heart. Let's just walk the arms forward this time and come onto the forehead, keeping the arms around about shoulder height, shoulder distance. The forehead doesn't get to the floor. Pop your cushion underneath the forehead. If you can get your chin down, please do that too. But make sure you keep your bottom and your knees in alignment. Now, believe it or not, this is down dog. It's just that you're not balancing on your wrists. But the movement of the spine and the shoulders is the same. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you can, is take your attention, so come back on your forehead if you've gone further than that, or rest your forehead on a cushion, and then take your attention to the shoulder blades and see if you can spread them wide, so protract them, spread them away from each other, and then squeeze them in towards each other. Now, what happens when I do that is, for me, and this might not be you, but what happens for me is my head changes its relationship with my spine. So when I roll my shoulders away from each other, my head lifts off the floor a little bit. And when I draw the shoulder blades towards my spine, the head drops down. I don't know if that's the same for anybody else. Okay, take a breather from that. Well done. Slide the bottom to the heels and just bring your fists underneath your forehead for a bit of polar bear. Now, what I want you to focus on is in polar bear is the fact that if you can start to release the back of the shoulders, there is space for you to breathe there. So just notice that in polar bear position, it's possible to let the breath reach up into the back of the body. Now, this is a really underused area of the lungs, the back lungs. But you'll find that people like opera singers and people that do like deep sea diving, holding their breath for long periods of time, people that need extra ability to breathe will use these muscles, but sort of our average person in the street, probably not so much. Okay, so enough of the sort of lead in. Let's bring this to a bit of flowing movement. So first thing I'm going to get you to do is we'll move into down facing dog. So just send the arms forward, tuck the toes under, and then see if you can peel up into your down dog, remembering how the back of your shoulder blades fell when you were in your mountain heart position. And if you can, and again, it might be a big ask, but see if you can protract and retract the shoulders, the shoulder blades. Finding a balance in between the two, so that your head's supported by the back of the shoulder blades. We'll come back to that in further weeks. Okay, I'm going to walk the feet forward towards the hands here. I'm going to soften into my knees, because what tends to happen is when we're activating the upper body, the lower body gets a bit stiff. Then I'm going to fold forward, and then I'm going to bring my arms up and out to the side, scoop them away behind me, and then eventually end up with my arms overhead. I need to change my camera. And then just slide the arms back down to the sides of the body. So just as you stand in Tadasana here, I wonder if you can connect a little bit to the back of those shoulder blades, so that you've got this sense of almost if you're standing with your back against the wall. So you're really feeling the backs of the arms and the shoulder blades. Now, as we flow through this little sequence, we'll add in a couple of bits to use what we've just learned. And you'll know this, we call this the Stelios salute. Basically, you begin, and you can do this with me, you bring your palms together in the prayer position. You breathe in, and as you exhale, you release the chin to the chest. You keep the chin on the chest, you slide the shoulder blades down the back, and then you allow the arms to float up, palms together above the head. Then as you exhale, you bend the elbows and you touch the back of the heart. And then as you inhale, you gaze up, releasing the neck, and gaze up to the thumbs. And then you bring the arms back down, and in the sequence, we're going to fold forward at that point. Okay. So let's do that together. Moving to the front of your mat. A little bit of softness in the knees. Breathing in, and as you exhale, bring the chin to the chest. Keep the chin on the chest, slide the shoulder blades down the back, and float the arms up and above the head. Then exhale, bending the elbows, stretch out the triceps, touching the shoulders behind you. Breathing in, float the arms up, gaze towards the thumbs, and as you exhale, bend the knees and fold forward into lovely forward fold. Breathing in, bend the knees, flatten the back, and then stride back with your right leg. So in that lovely runner's lunge position. From this position, keep your right fingertips on the floor. I want you to see if you can slide your left shoulder blade down the back, float the arm out in line with the left shoulder, and then from there, turn the rib cage to the left. So you're taking that lovely twist, but the shoulder blade's still sliding down the back. From there, you're going to turn back, bring the hand back either side of the front foot, and from here, you're going to step it back into downward facing dog. Have a little walk out with the dog, but also try and focus on what you're doing with those shoulders. So there's an element, there's a little balance between retraction and protraction. Okay, from there, you're going to bend the knees to the floor, you're going to come back onto all fours, and then you're going to do your roll the marble. So as you exhale, you're going to take your angry cat position, bring the bottom to the heels, and at the end of the exhale, drop the forehead to the floor. As you inhale, let the elbows move out to the side, shoulder blades protract. Imagine you're rolling the marble along the floor. When the the ears reach the level of the thumbs, draw the elbows in, retract the shoulder blades, and lift the top chest up into your up-facing cat. Good. Okay, from there, release back, tuck the toes under, you'll end up with a short dog pose. And then from there, you're going to take the right foot and step it forward, helping it through towards the right hand. From here, we're going to take side angle position. So you're going to square the left foot off. You're going to bring the right hand inside of the right foot. I'm not mirroring you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my right forearm up onto my thigh. To start with, I'm just going to leave my left hand on my hip. I'm going to roll the right sides of my ribs to the left, and I'm going to extend my left arm out behind me. Now, remember we're focusing on the shoulder blades. So I'm going to turn that left palm to face upwards, squeezing my left shoulder blade towards the spine, and then I'm going to float it up. Now I should be able to see it. I'm trying not to lean into my right elbow, my right arm. I should be able to see inside of my left arm. Now that's not saying I've got to keep looking at it, but that's where it should be. It shouldn't be folded alongside of the ear. It should be floating out from the shoulder blade. Lovely. It's a magnificent move, this, but so often that gets misunderstood. From there, I'm going to keep extending that left arm forward, and I'm going to pivot on the ball of my left foot. So my left heel is lifted, and then I'm going to keep turning to the right, so that eventually I can bring this left elbow outside of my right thigh. I'm going to keep spinning my ribs around to the right, and maybe I can bring my hands into a prayer position for twisting, Pavariti Parsvakonasana. Shoulder blades sliding down the back, crown of the head lengthening forward. Good. Okay, undo the hands, bring them either side of the feet, step the back foot forward to the front foot, Ardha Uttanasana, and then fold into full Uttanasana. From there, inhale, swoop the arms behind, draw the shoulder blades down the back, as if you're using the straps. Bring the arms up and overhead, and as you exhale, bring the palms back down in front of the heart. Lovely. Tadasana. Breathing in, breathing out, drop the chin to the chest, soften the knees. Breathing in, keep the chin at the chest, lift the hands up above the head. Exhale, touch the back of the heart. Breathing in, release the chin from the chest, gaze up to the thumbs, and as you exhale, fold forward, head to shin. Flatten the back and step back with that left leg. From here, left fingertips to the floor. Slide the right arm out in line with the shoulder, drawing the shoulder blade down the back, and then feel that twist, rib cage into inner thigh. Lovely. Exhaling, release. Step back into downward facing dog, just temporarily. And then bend the knees to the floor, hands underneath the shoulders. Breathe out Angry cat, chin to chest, knit the ribs, lift the low belly. Take the bottom all the way to the heels and drop the forehead down. Elbows moving out to the side, let them hover. And then imagine you're on a marble on the floor. Now, pull the elbows in. It's going to change the position of the shoulder blades to support the extension and lift up into your up-facing cat. And then from there, release to neutral, tuck the toes under, slide back into that short dog. And then from there, step the left foot forward to the hands. Now, you're going to see my back this time. I apologise for that. Hands come inside of the left foot. Square the right foot off. So the toes turning in, heels turning out. You bring your left forearm onto your left thigh and start to turn the ribs to the right. Just initially keeping the right hand onto the hip to start with. Now slide that right arm out behind you, turn the palm to face the ceiling, keep sliding the shoulder blade down the back, protecting the spine as you slowly ease the arm. And you should be able to look at it, but don't strain your head. I'm just trying to get you to think about the positioning of that arm, not necessarily having to look at it all the time. Okay, keep breathing. Okay, what I'm just going to show you is that it's kind of like that. The arms are like this. They're not like this. They're opening the body. You know, you should be able to lift the elbow from the thigh without any effort. That's how much buoyancy and connection you should have into the shoulder blades. Okay, well done. Turn around, face your foot, step back, step forward into Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana, and then fold forward into Uttanasana. Oh, we missed one out, didn't we? I really apologise. So we'll go back. Oh dear. We'll step the right leg back into a lunge. So we've come out of our side angle. Let's go into a high standing lunge. Gosh, messed that up. Take your right arm, extend it forward. Think Tom Cruise run. I always think that's a good way to think of it. And then start to keep extending forward so that you can slide your right elbow outside of your left leg and bring yourself into your twisting side angle position. Shoulder blades sliding down the back, head extending. Okay, then we're going to turn back. Step the feet together again. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, swoop the arms out behind. Behind, 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 behind. Eventually overhead. And then slide the hands back to prayer. Back to Tadasana, really connecting to the back of the body. Okay, I'm just checking my time here. Lovely. So I thought we'd put a bit of flow in there because I'm aware that when we do shoulders, it does get a little bit functional. Now, I asked you if you would have access to a wall or a piece of furniture. And the reason is because I thought I would try and throw in some firefighter positions, you know, for when you feel you just need to release your shoulders, but you don't really have a lot of time. So these are what I was going to give you against the wall. Now, The first one is very simple. There's been a lot of media attention to this. I've always called it the airport stretch. And this one is connecting the hands to a wall, at the back of a chair, or you can do it on your kitchen worktop. So you're going to have the hands around about in line with the shoulders, maybe just slightly higher. And then you're going to walk back so that the heels are underneath the bottom. And the knees may be slightly bent. You're pressing deeply into the hands, and your head and neck are relaxed. So they're not hanging where you can't hang that far because you've got the shoulders supporting you. But also you're quite active in the palms. It's kind of a bit of a down dog position, this one. So again, have a little play around with the shoulder blades. Notice how it feels when you shift them. Now you can do this one, not just standing, but on the elbows. So you can walk the feet in a little bit and bring the elbows to your wall. You can't do this on a chair, though, obviously. If you're on a chair, you could bring the elbows onto the top of the chair back. How's that going? So I've got my hands clasped. That's it. I'm lifting that front pubis. And again, I'm getting a slightly different variation of that back stretch. Now, it's recommended that if you're working in an office on a computer, that you would do one of these about every 20 minutes. Okay, we're going to ease out of that one. And again, just come into Tadasana. Just feel that connection with the back of the body. Always making sure that when you've done that, perhaps you do a little pelvic tilt or a little circle with the hips. Because when we're bringing attention to the shoulders, we do tend to form tension in the lower back. So we have to kind of soften that as well. Good. So both of those, excellent. Excuse me, the next one, now I'm going to do it on my wall here. So basically this time you're going to stand sideways. Actually, now it's easy to see it here. So you stand sideways to the wall. So this time, this is my left side. I'm standing in Tadasana. Now, I'm going to draw my shoulder down my back, shoulder blade down my back, and I'm going to slowly lengthen my arm. So let's call this is called the clock face. Let's call this 12 o'clock. Palm on the wall, lengthening through the armpit, side body lengthening, shoulder blade sliding down the back. Now this is where you've got to work within your ability, your capability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with the arm. So from 12 o'clock, I'm going to go back, let's call it 11 o'clock. Now that might be okay. In between each movement, I have to relax the shoulder again, relax the shoulder blade, drop the shoulder blade. Okay, from 11 o'clock, try 10. Now, at any point, please feel free to say that's enough for my shoulder. Try 9. Make sure the whole of the hands on the whole of the palm is on the wall. Try 8. 7. 6. Excuse me, and then reverse. So 6, 7. Try and keep the body facing the same plane. 8, 7, 6, 5. What am I doing? Just keep going up. Ending up 11. And then 12. And then slowly stepping away from the wall and just floating the arm forward and down to the side of the body, noticing the difference between the arm that you've taken on the clock face and the other arm. Okay, yeah. So you've got to change sides. So this time I'm going to go to this wall to show you. So again, I'm going to slide my shoulder back. I'm going to start with the hand high. Probably should have said that to start with, yeah. 12 o'clock. Okay, so you're going to go back. 11. Or is it 1 this time? You know what I'm doing. 10. 9. That's halfway. Shoulder in line with an armpit. 8. 7. 6. Lovely. And then just draw that clock face back up again. Slowly, trying to connect all the time with the back of that shoulder blade. Stopping if you're feeling any pain, sharp shooting pains, not good. Again, when you're done, slowly releasing the arm, dropping it back to the side body. Deep breaths. So as we start to cool down towards our relaxation, what I'm going to get you to do is just do a little roll down. So bend the knees, bring the chin to the chest, and just very slowly roll down, bending the knees, 1 vertebrae at a time. Being aware of the muscles that you've connected to, leading with the crown of the head. Eventually ending up in a forward fold, maybe the backs of the hands to the floor. And then bend the knees and slide back onto your hands and knees. Well done. There's so much more that we could do. The last thing I'm going to give you, I promise, is to get you to bring your bottom to the heels, bring the elbows to the floor. This is one of my favorites. Just like we did with dolphin. So you're bringing the hands into prayer, but rolling the elbows in, and then either dropping the forehead down here and bringing the prayer hands somewhere behind the head. So the thumbs are moving into the nape of the neck is one option. The other option, and we can try both, is to release out of there and use the brick. So elbows on the brick this time. And this time, as you bring the fingertips and the thumbs to the back of the nape of the neck, you're going to drop the head down inside of the brick. It's a little bit stronger. Or maybe not. Maybe it's different. Deep breaths. Lovely. Breathing in, easing out, and just from here, reaching for your warm clothes. So I thought we'd finish this practice the same way we began, just to see if it felt any different from that opening position. So remember, we were lying over our blankets. Now, of course, if you find that's not a position that you enjoy and you'd rather do semi-supine or shavasana, please feel free to do that. I just thought sometimes it's quite nourishing to finish the practice the same way you started it, so that you could potentially be aware of any differences in the way your body is relating to the earth, to the blanket. So if you want to settle yourself, again, it'll probably be for about 2 to 3 minutes. It's quite a yin position, so it's quite nice to stay in it for a little bit. Now you might decide to change the position of the arms. Perhaps you're able to have the arms a bit deeper into their release. Remember, you've got to make sure that the backs of the arms and the hands are on the floor. Or maybe you feel you'd like to change position of the legs. Or not. Maybe you feel that you were at your optimum position at the beginning of the practice. I confess this is one of my favourite things to do. I find it very releasing. I find it extra releasing if I've had quite a day that's been filled with kind of crisis management, which is a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. You know, where you feel that you're dealing with lots of problems. None of them seem to be going right. I find this is a really good way of allowing those problems to be taken in perspective. As you settle yourself, make sure that the face is relaxed. The eyes are sinking into the eye sockets. The tongue is resting in the base of the mouth. This deep sensation of heaviness in the upper body. But also a sensation of release, of letting go. Perhaps begin to notice how the breath feels. Is it deeper or shallower? Sometime in the next couple of minutes, or between now and the next couple of minutes, I want you to be able to enjoy the sensation of lying in relaxation without the blanket. So I'm just going to bring my feet back to semi-supine. And I'm just going to ease over to one side, just to remove the blanket out from underneath my back. And then just give myself that opportunity of relaxing with this softening of the shoulder blades. It could be semi-supine, it could be Shavasana. Just allowing that softness, that surrender through the back of the body. Maybe even feeling that desire to pick up the shoulder blades from the floor, draw them down the back, and be more comfortable lying with the shoulder blades lengthening. So as this practice begins to draw to a close, absolutely no rush. I want you to feel that you can ease yourself into your full body stretch as mindfully as you've moved through this practice. So even as you release your arms to stretch up and overhead, feel that you're doing this with grace and ease, as opposed to grasping. And then be very mobile with the arms as they release down to the sides of the body. And you ease into semi-supine before, one at a time, easing the knees to the chest. Again, please feel free to take any back releases, circles or rocks from side to side that you need to do. And then eventually ease yourself into sitting. And even as you come into sitting, just be aware of how you've positioned yourself in that seated position, how you feel, shoulders back, neck. And then, as we always do, completing our practice by gathering the energy around us, gazing up to the thumbs, and then slowly sealing the practice down through the third eye, to the lips and the throat, and to the heart. Well done. Lovely to see you in class tonight. I'm just going to I'll stop this recording.